I hate having to peel away the endless layers of corporate BS to find out what the real deal is with some companies. In this episode, Ronda Wilkin peels away the mystery and pretense that often surrounds memory care facilities, and she gets right to the juicy heart of matters for families affected by Alzheimer's. Ronda is the executive director of Callao Bay, an Alzheimer's special care center in La Quinta, California. She's a no-nonsense, experienced professional with an angel's heart for every resident in her care.
He had 3 daughters and 6 grandchildren. 5 of us are girls. We all got name necklaces made by him. So I started wearing my mom's every once in a while. So I have my mother's name necklace on as well as mine. For me, this is a combination of a personal and a professional passion. So I am the great-granddaughter, the granddaughter, the daughter, the niece, and actually the daughter-in-law of people who have currently dealt with or have passed due to Alzheimer's and dementia. It's in my family. It went from my great-grandmother down to my grandfather. There are 3 daughters. My mother's older sister has already passed Alzheimer's. My mother is currently late-stage Alzheimer's. The youngest sister, who is the healthiest of the 3, was never a smoker, exercised, eats much better, excuse me. At this point, should be showing signs of the disease, and she doesn't at the moment have them. So we are very grateful, whether the genetics have passed her or her being healthier has delayed it, or she won't get it, we don't know, but we're very thankful that right now 1 out of 3.
There's 4 specific types of Alzheimer's. 3 of the 4 are not hereditary, and 1 is. So
the APOE 3 gene, yes.
So that gene must be run in your family line.
It just increases your chance. It's no guarantee. Everyone is saying to stay healthy. I'm not a smoker. I try and exercise enough. So we'll see. Doing what I can.
Welcome to the real life. Does anybody know your name? Does everybody?
And there was a crisis, and she said, "This is real life."
How does a person go, I think I'm going to do this?
So for me, I have about 30 years in healthcare and not-for-profit management. I was the executive director of Los Angeles' largest Jewish community center at the time. So my scope of work included the preschoolers, the after-school kids, up through the seniors. I found myself wanting to go play with the seniors more than the cute little ones. When that position ended, I sought out and was hired by an assisted living organization, and there went my career, because I love the seniors.
Do you still have a sense of hands-on with that?
Absolutely. I try and get out of my office as much as I can. Obviously, there's financials and budgets, but at the same time, I'm responsible for all of those sweet people in my building, and very responsible also for the care and well-being as much as I can for their families.
There was this one instance when I was at Callao Bay, and I was talking to Ronda Wilkin, and something had transpired with a resident who needed immediate emergency attention. And Ronda, just without hesitation, just sort of a reflex, she just said, "This is real life," and just sort of got up immediately and tended to the situation. And she was expert in the way that she handled herself. There was no panic whatsoever. And she has a whole team, nurses and such, on hand. But as the top person, the executive director of the property, she could have delegated, but she let everybody do what they were supposed to do. However, from the top, she still supervised, and she was the person who was on the phone talking to the residents. I suppose it was her daughter, so a family member, and was letting the daughter know exactly what was transpiring, that her mother was okay. They were taking her to the hospital to be sure that everything was okay and to have her checked out. So, and I was thinking as I was sitting there, man, if my dad was here, this is exactly the sort of care that I would want. And yet, who thinks that the top level executive is going to pay attention to each and every...
So you feel like there's more of a hands-on sense in the top level position.
I think you have to have one. You have to have one.
I mean, as opposed to someone who is, much more, I don't know what the right term is exactly. In other words, someone who is wheeling a patient out to the dining room or something like that.
Oh no, those are my angels earning their wings. My caregivers and my team, a lot more hands-on, honestly, than I am. I give them all the credit in the world for their job.
So you're supervising. I mean, those angels earning their wings, they have the opportunity because of you. You're bringing them in, you're opening that door for them. So, I mean, it's really the whole responsibility aspect of it.
It's operations and care. It is the whole package. That's what an executive director does.
I would feel better about placing my dad in a place where the top level executive is dealing with the exact same.
I get it. Nobody gets it more than I do.
Because it's not just a job for you. It's personal for you.
It truly does make a difference, and I believe the fact that we care only for those with dementia and Alzheimer's really makes a difference. You asked previously about executive level management. I've managed in the multi-level communities where you had assisted living and memory care. Those homes are almost routinely all built 80-20, 75-25. So if you're an executive where 80% of your staff and 80% of your dollars and 80% of your clients and your families are over here on the assisted living side, where's 80% of your attention?
Assisted living.
Okay, so for me, 100% of all I do 24/7 is dementia and Alzheimer's. That's all I care for.
Welcome to the real life. Does anybody know your name?
When seniors take care of seniors, especially with this disease, you get close to about a 70% where the caregiver's health is going to start to fail. And then you get about 25% rate of where the caregiver is actually going to die first. So I am that story. So almost a little over 30 years ago, my grandmother, who was the caregiver, died 6 weeks before my grandfather, who actually was the one with Alzheimer's. So I tell people that one disease took 2 grandparents.
Sure.
And part of my passion in this career that I have now is to educate people and help families, because while I could never have saved my grandfather, Alzheimer's was going to eventually kill him, I would have liked my grandmother at my wedding. My brother the same. We're in this together. I would have liked my grandmother to see my children born. It didn't have to happen. The caregiving stress did kill her. And so I'm very passionate, and I've been told I'm somewhat of a helicopter daughter, became such as my mother began to show the signs, and I watched my father stress to make sure. I made my father promise he was going to do what he could to stay around. He was going to be at my children's wedding. So far, knock on wood, we have to teach that it's okay to have care in the house. It's okay for a respite. You need to take care of yourself because your loved one and the rest of your family need you. Your children and your grandchildren need you. And it's not fair to kill yourself and do that to your family. It's really just not.
Putting your loved one in a facility would be an obvious instant relief on one hand, but on the other hand, I call it bittersweet. Because nobody wants to part. I mean, that's one of my mom's main struggles right now, is she doesn't feel that she has a husband anymore.
She doesn't. And there's a sign on my desk that says, the hardest thing you'll ever have to do, my dear, is grieve the loss of someone who is still alive. So we have a responsibility to care for these sweet people with this horrific disease called Alzheimer's or dementia. We have a responsibility to care for them, for the shells, for the human beings that they are, to give them an amazing quality of life without killing the surviving spouse.
Right.
At Kaleo Bay, we are truly blessed. I tell people it's almost like living The Notebook, the movie The Notebook in my community, because over 65% of my residents are still married. I take it very personally when I sit down with a couple and I'm looking at a long-term 40, 50, 60, 65, 70-year marriage. And now I'm taking on the responsibility of the loved one with Alzheimer's or dementia. And literally, this is their soulmate. This is very different than placing, when you're an adult child like you and I are and making the decision to place somebody. It weighs heavy on my heart every time I do it. I know it's the right thing to do, but it does weigh heavy on my heart. I have seen the reverse blessing is I've seen the spouse who stays at home regain a life, and they come and visit. Our community is very active with traffic of loved ones and visitors and spouses.
Which is very important.
Right. Very important.
We don't want to lose two.
Don't want to lose 2 to 1 disease. That's what I keep saying.
Having an older generation such as my dad,
Right.
thinking of the facility as horrible.
So that is true. My grandfather was placed in a skilled nursing type facility. That is how they used to handle the disease. That is what that generation imagines when they think of being placed in a community. Today's assisted living communities are truly, when done correctly, cruise ships that don't move with loving care. That is how I describe them.
Cruise ships that move with loving.
Don't move. We're not sailing.
Okay, right,
We're not sailing. Cruise ships that don't move with tender, loving care, because it's all about the socialization and the activities and the meaningful moments, and just making sure that every day is a great day. We have so much fun creating meaningful moments with our residents. My children are old. My twins are almost 25, and you don't get to be that age and have athletes without a few hiccups along the way. So one of my favorite things is I actually have old films from a broken ankle, an MRI from the hospital. We happen to have a resident who is or was a very prominent radiologist, and every once in a while I'll pull out the films and I'm like, what do you think? Is it broken? And we'll spend a half hour looking at these films, and it's just a meaningful moment.
Welcome to the real life. Does anybody know your name? Does everybody feel the same?
Sees candy.
My mom is at Kaleo. I wrote what's now known as a Grateful Daughter letter to the owners of Kaleo Bay within probably a month or so of Mom being there, thanking these angels earning their wings for this remarkable turnaround. And at the bottom, I actually wrote, if you ever open a community in Los Angeles, it would be an honor to work for the family. 7 months later, the executive director at Kaleo moved on, and through interviews and such, I'm here. So Mom came first. I followed because Kaleo Bay is truly that amazing, and the work we do is truly that amazing. And these are her favorites. So my office has a big box of lollipops in general. While we don't ever like to compare what adults do to childlike behaviors, I, for one, for example, will never call a adult brief a diaper. It's just not a vocabulary word that we use here. Lollipops are very much like a pacifier, and we don't have another analogy for it. So, but Mom loves these, and so we spoil her a little bit. There's a big box of them in my office. our dogs. We gave her a big bear hug. Do you know who that is? She recognized him as somebody familiar. And when I came up, she said, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. She knew he was a nice person, but she couldn't place the connection anymore. Who are these two lovely ladies? There's me and Mom. Mom. Marilyn. They're sisters.
Is this a good day, Rhonda, or not such a good day?
We'll see. It's a normal day, actually. It's where we are. So as I said, we're in the later stages, and Mom's only 76. We've been dealing with this since her late 60s. What? You know who this is? No? Is that Reenie? Is that Aunt Reenie? Aunt Reenie. And there's you. And your sister. Who's the person in white? Who am I dancing with? Who's that? Is that Arnie? She still knows my dad because he comes in a lot. She'll say, oh, my husband. So she still does know my dad. Sometimes. Most of the time. And me, she sort of knows. Every once in a while, she'll stand behind the nurse's desk and she'll do one of these. Mom, do you do this? Rhonda, come here. Just like you used to do. Come here now. So this picture was actually just taken, less than a week ago when my father came to visit. And so she knows who he is. Let's see. Mom, who's this? You don't know today? Who's that? Is that your husband? No? Not today.
That was a week ago.
That was a week ago. When he walks in later today, she will most likely recognize him. Love you, sweetheart. Mom. Oh, Marilyn. Hi. We get smiles sometimes. You look into those blue eyes and sometimes she's there and other days she's not. Mom, do you recognize this? Look what's on my neck. Do you recognize it? Let me look. What's this say? Look, we both have matching ones. You recognize this? What does it say? You do? What is it? Papa made it. Your daddy made it. What does it say? It says Marilyn. Who's Marilyn? Is that you?
But I love the cruise ship that doesn't move.
With tender, loving care.
Love that.
And my angels earning their wings are doing that tender, loving care. I thank them every day.